Don't know who exactly I'm going to cheer for, but I might actually cheer for SKillous a little bit here. I might actually. Top right, SKillous. Bottom left, HeRoMaRinE. Not that I don't like HeRoMaRinE, just that he is the overdog. He is the Goliath. He is the person we expect to win. SKillous has been on the up and up, not just in personal opinion, no backing whatsoever. No, actual mathematical backing, okay? A Ligulac shows his little red line thingy going on the up. It had a big jump in 2020 and then kind of rocked around, kind of level, plateau, and then it's all on the up actually as I speak. So I've said it in the previous series, but to reiterate for the YouTube viewers, I think SKillous is an overall more confident player and perhaps even person. He seems to have a more confident take on things. Get to read some of his Discord messages, some of his actual thought processes behind his losses or his victories. And I think it's just a bit of a different SKillous than it was 2 years ago, where basically he hit the wall, and the wall wasn't just HeRoMaRinE actually, speaking of, it was his nerfs. He was winning against HeRoMaRinE, and then he got nervous and lost, and then never really quite had the same level. Still pretty good. So one of the more promising Protosses of the next generation, but not as much of a bursting forth into the scene as say like Clem, right? When Clem got good, it's like he suddenly just got really good. And SKillous is once again getting better. HeRoMaRinE, very dependable Terran. A little bit on the up and up thanks to his Katowice performance. No doubt about that. But he's about as good as he's always been. And he wins a lot of these open cups. So SKillous was very aggressive versus Clem in the previous series I cast. I did not see HeRoMaRinE's win against Special, but it's a different matchup, so whatever. Unimportant. HeRoMaRinE does usually play the macro style, straight and narrow, sometimes extreme greed against Protoss, actually, 3cc type situation. Most of the time, kind of middle of the road. Not really aggressive, no proxies, no factory expands, but then also not 3ccing. SKillous was going for like 2 gateway openers, and didn't really ever get them to work out very well. So again, I'm kind of happier he doesn't go for it here. Interesting that he opens up with a Stalker, actually. So he is opening up with a Stargate. This could be to keep up appearances. It's not because he thought there was a well, you could start the Stalker because he thought there might be a bunker, but I definitely know it's not a bunker. I definitely understand why you'd open Stalker first when you're going into a Twilight Council. Stalker, 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 getting the Stalker numbers up and, really, really quickly. You have more Stalkers to work with when Blink finishes. But usually, otherwise, the Stalker's a little more expensive. Takes a little longer. Oh, wait, no. Takes the same amount of time to pop out. But it's a little more expensive anyways, so it delays the Stargate. It's just, and it's not as mobile either, so usually the Adepts comes out, deals with the Reaper, shades across the map. Stalker comes out after that. It's a bit of a flip on the expected gateway openers. One that HeRoMaRinE might have misidentified, actually. But he literally saw the Stargate, so that's not really a worry. Oracle should get that high ground vision. Yeah, break the lock on. And it's all Gucci. Pretty quick third Nexus coming down here, so that is before any Twilight Council, as he has gone for not just a second Oracle, but also a third. We could still have a Twilight Council follow-up, but if this was one Oracle into Twilight Council, that would have come down. Then third Nexus, talking about Blink Stalkers being the true goal, and the Oracle is just, for scouting. But triple Oracle in this particular matchup, could he even be going for... No, I'm not going to say it. Got 4 gases already. It's pretty quick. I guess I'll say it. I mean, I was wondering if he's going to go into Adepts. It's not exactly a style, but it's something we've seen recently, like Classic versus Maru. I don't actually know what exactly the build order was between them two, but there was a bunch of Oracles. Proxied, to be fair, but there's a bunch of Oracles. There's Adepts running around. I'm not sure. Usually 4 gases aren't really necessary for any Twilight Council straight up build. 4 gases would absolutely be about the next step past Twilight Council. Templar Archives, obviously. But hello. 3 oracles just got 9 SEVs. Cool. Yeah. But the question is that going to mean SKillous wins the game economically, or does it mean you lose the game because his army supply is terrible? 3 oracles are really quite expensive. That heavy delay on the stalkers and the blink is what I'm mostly worried about. If HeRoMaRinE had been waiting to starport, I think SKillous is totally fine. But HeRoMaRinE not waiting for it, both missed his chance to perfectly defend against the oracles, but also is getting the right timing to punish SKillous for said oracles. So yeah, this could still be bad. 2 tanks already sieged up. Stalkers can't do any blink action, and I think this is too much damage. Especially with the Stalkers warping in front of the tank fire. That is brutal. He's trying to split them so the tanks aren't firing as well. But, yeah, maybe if the Stalkers had been split from the get-go, that might have been enough. He could possibly wait for Blink. I think his Nexus is going to survive, but Blink needs to be chronoed. Like, get the fuck on that chrono. 9 probes killed, though. Obviously returns the damage. HeRoMaRinE is... I mean, I think he's going to win off this push. Not with this push, necessarily, but I think this was enough damage. SKillous is hurting. He's very much hurting. His build order is all over the place as well now, too, so never really utilize all those gases. His Marines, or rather his probes, once again dying to the Marines. Well, these Marines probably aren't actually worth it. HeRoMaRinE had them already running across the map to support his tanks. They were a little late to that particular party. Decided that they'd stick around, and then the host was like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Get out, you weirdo!" that wasn't really cool of HeRoMaRinE. Only 2 probes for those Marines. Well, the Stalker died, didn't it? I don't know. That wasn't the best. Anywho, SKillous probably wants to add more Stalkers. So I will say that if you're gonna go for a lot of Stalkers, 4 gases is kind of necessary. Well, not 4. 3 is necessary if you're gonna go for a lot of Stalkers. So yeah, the 4 gases usually means Templar Archives. And you're not gonna get into Storm, but you are gonna get into Archons. Oh, the recall! Oh my god. That's gonna do it, I think. He might have held if this was a direct push, if HeRoMaRinE had just pushed with this army. I actually believe SKillous would have held. But losing the Nexus, that's bad. And we can see here, SKillous trying his best to win this game. Really trying to utilize Stalkers, the best of his ability, but... nah, it's too late, it's too late. Everything had to go perfectly after the hubbub that was the tank push, and things have definitely not gone perfectly. Thank you, SmogTD, for the 10 months. And the last fights, a little bit of razzle-dazzle, a little bit of the Marine kiting. I mean, this would have been a beautiful army to go up against this Archon, Zealot, Guardian Shield. If it was bigger. GG. Hello. I got a cat. SKillous needs to chill out and use his economic lead here. I'm not sure what point of the game you're talking about. I don't think there was any point where he was supposed to chill out. The Oracles dived in, killed 9 SCVs. HeRoMaRinE was counterattacking. while that was happening. The tank attack happened. SKillous was in a really bad position. SKillous tries to counter with stalkers. Are you talking about when he tried to use the stalkers on the forward position? No, actually, I think that was totally correct. He did not have that much of an economic lead. He lost those probes. And you have to use your stalkers very actively to try and bring things back, because they're scouting, they're harassments, they're picking off the army, they're buying more time. And they're still capable of running back home in a pinch 9 times out of 10. Didn't realize there was Marines, you know, hiding, of course. So I disagree. I think SKillous did exactly what he should have. It's just that HeRoMaRinE had already done damage. Had already been pushing across the map when SKillous was really not prepared. So bottom left down a game, he is SKillous. Top right, it is HeRoMaRinE. And HeRoMaRinE is sending out an SCV. That's a pretty quick one. Could be for an engineering bay block, a guaranteed engineering bay block. But HeRoMaRinE is not a total stranger to the proxy. There you go, it's a proxy. Proxy Reaper. SKillous is actually scouting for something truly close to his base. Is he gonna scout the proxy here? High ground? Oh, that's painful. That is painful. Very painful indeed. He's still eventually going to scout the lack of barracks, but he is going for a Gateway Nexus Cybernetics course. That's already a little more awkward than you'd want. He could try and pump out a Zealot to help buy time. Oh, he barely fit that in. His Nexus was definitely on his mind. So he barely got that scout in time. So Cybernetics core does come down first. It's not as fast as it would have been, though, if it was actually his intended build. So the Reaper has a little more time to play with. I think very important is that his bunker does not get up. It's a bit late to pull a second probe, though. Yeah, it's getting progressively later. No Zealots popping out, too, so this bunker is probably going to get up, actually. Probably going to get up. Immediate Stalker, production. I mean, this really isn't the worst case scenario. The pylon might go under. Shield battery not being able to be built. That's always extremely awkward for a Protoss player, but Showtime's out with this, okay. SKillous is going to return the favor. He's going to proxy, what, a Stargate? Yep. You're gonna need 3 Stalkers to bust this down. So the pylon is gonna die. Oh. HeRoMaRinE too fast for you? Too fast, fight me? And really, it just sucks because it's a pylon. The probe production, surprisingly, still happening. That's the second worry for sure. So you don't get any probe production from your natural. Reapers. See, that's a bit tasty. So I think that's when actually you can't bust it without a shield battery. If it's only 2 Reapers, I think it's bustable without a shield battery. 3 is a lot of firepower. When the SCV is still alive, I guess is also very important. And it is still alive. So this is how things snowball really hard. This is what I was afraid of when I was casting that Showtime game. I think it was Showtime vs. Beyond, I think. Or, no. Someone else on Blackburn. Anyways, but the production of Reapers stopped, so that was a really big difference. In this case, hitting 3 of them is probably worth it. What isn't worth is getting a tank, because HeRoMaRinE has no idea there's a Void Ray on the way. If this was a Cyclone, this is GG. HeRoMaRinE wins the game. It's a tank, though. So, you know, this is awkward. And as far as the Reaper's killing a Nexus, that's not really... Oh, it was a Cyclone. It just went across the map. Yeah, so the Cyclone can kill a Nexus, and this makes things really awkward, but... I don't know what happens from here on out. Second Void Ray pops. Little supply block, though, is going to waste most of that Chrono. This Void Ray is still going to town. It's about to be hit by both a Cyclone and a Viking, though, so it's got to be... I think it might actually die. 2 Void Rays, though. That's a really important addition. Pop that Prismatic Alignment, baby. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. Viking gets tapped, so that's going to die, and 1 more Cyclone is going to pop. Get this... He got the correct sock on. Ooh, and gets the kill. That makes things interesting. 2 Stalkers just gonna run by the bunker at this point. And this second Void Ray going down to the Cyclone is big news. It's big! Jesus criminy! It's not gonna go down to the Cyclone. That's gonna come by later and help out some way, somehow. But 2 Cyclones on the high ground at this point. I don't know how SKillous really busts that. I don't think he can. He's gonna Phoenix try and pick up one of these Cyclones. This Void Ray is gonna die. Too late to recall it. Supply Depot died. Puts the Stalkers in. Phoenix is gonna go for at least 1 lift up. But there's now 3 Cyclones, so I think SKillous is out of luck. Oh, second Cyclone actually gets trapped. These fucking Marines, though. But it's still not good enough. That's another crazy game. One that HeRoMaRinE is gonna win. I mean, especially now the Void Rays produce a little later. A little more expansive. Putting 1 shield battery on the top side? No. The closest he would have gotten it was here. If he could have gotten a shield battery up here so that he could attack and heal, I think it's different, but... I mean, he might have been able to if that was his immediate reaction. But it wasn't. He got the proxy pylon up instead. And that's gonna be that. A bold attempt from SKillous to clap back, I guess, but didn't work. GG. And HeRoMaRinE is undeniably a very solid Terran player. The good news is, I never have to worry about SKillous going up against HeRoMaRinE in the clan war. Not unless Wardy's grand finale spectacle, some like Final Fantasy X shit, where your own Aeons fight you. Turn into a CVC, cheese versus cheese. It did indeed. And what could be the last game? It's going to be on Berlingrad. Top left, it is SKillous. Bottom right, HeRoMaRinE up 2-0. Forces SKillous into a very uncomfortable position by adding on that third Reaper. So SKillous, you know, is really how to say, he was betting on the wrong horse. He was thinking that it was defendable, that he was going to eventually clean it up with only 2 Reapers in the bunker. He'd clean that up, have a natural Nexus, and then proxy something out of the Stargate that might not have actually been a Void Ray. He might have actually been thinking of an Oracle first. And then when he realized it was going to be a bigger problem, he was like, okay, let's go for a Void Ray. Hard to say for sure. But I think if it's a Nexus up and available at that natural, I don't think you have to go for something as dedicated as a Void Ray. Void Ray, dedicated, Oracle, harassment, scouting, you know. That's my line of thinking. It's possible he still wanted to aggress, I guess, and win the game right off the bat, even if his Nexus had survived. But, yeah, I have to check the exact timings in a replay scenario. Anywho, it just meant that he thought it was going to go one direction and went another, no matter what his initial plan was. I don't think it actually included losing the Nexus, right? So HeRoMaRinE didn't necessarily get him. Gotcha. With the proxy Reaper. It was the proxy 3rd Reaper that really was the gotcha. Are we optimistic for the Grub versus Fear Dragon team? Actually, yes, but we haven't gotten the roster yet. I submitted mine yesterday, I think. But I don't know if Fear Dragon submitted his. Never really occurred to me to submit to my team all of the maps. And all of the clan wars. I was doing it per week. But, yeah, I probably could have. I don't know if Wardy has this automated. Main admin sheet. Oh. I was very confused. Yeah, no, nothing's been updated. So it does depend on the actual matchups. Oops, sorry, Reaper action. But I think in general, I am quite happy with a matchup between the two of us. Trap's been proven weaker than perhaps one would hope when he was first picked. Australia's proven stronger, actually, so there's that balance, I guess. And the rest of the team, I think, is just, like, totally doable. Neeb usually loses to the Europeans. Just kidding. He actually gets into quite a few finals. But I would say that I feel confident against Neeb, feel confident against Mana, feel confident against some other... Oh, Zaun, that's right. Well, Zaun is actually pretty good. He had a really disappointing appearance in their final clan match of the weekend, but... Definitely feel confident against 2. Actually, I still feel confident against Strave, who's been doing really well. Yeah, it really just matters what the matchups are. Perhaps even what the ping is, who actually gets server advantage. Anywho. So, sim on the way. We got a 2-1-1. SKillous has opened up with just Twilight Council. No 2 gateways. No Stargate. And right into a 3rd Nexus as well. So very macro-oriented. HeRoMaRinE is going to see that. I do think you gotta be careful. You see a forward gateway and a forward robo, you don't want to just assume it's not a 4-gate. Depending on the robo timing, you might be able to figure it out, but even that would be a little sketch on. You could see someone like MaxPax having a slightly different build order just to confuse someone, because he ultimately loves the 4-gate, but it doesn't really work out for him too often. We do have 2 additional gateways coming down now, but that's not really suspicious. 3rd Nexus, most important, and then perhaps the gas timings after that. So only a 3rd gas. We could even have him, SKillous, go once again into the proxy gateway. If I see a probe hanging out somewhere, that's when I'll get really suspicious. Maybe not, maybe not. 4 Stalker hit squad. Kills the Marines. Needs a 2-shot the Stalker, though. Or the Marauder, which it does. Value. This is value, 100%. 100%. Cyclone pops up and is going to kill a probe. 2 probes. I'm sorry, Cyclone. You did more than I gave you credit for. But if it dies to the Stalkers, then it's so far not been a great opener for HeRoMaRinE. He's been bullied. Skillous is sitting there calling him Four Eyes. It's really rude. Actually, I think Skillous sometimes wears glasses, so that'd be awfully hypocritical. Anywho, Skillous even brings forward these other stalkers. He realizes that it's definitely nothing on this side of the map that's going to be bothersome, right? Like a single Cyclone's really not that big of a deal. There's no Woodamine drop either, so the stalkers can be as aggressive as they are. As we see here, Cyclone actually gets some revenge, just as for calling me useless. Sorry, buddy. One Marauder dies, blinks away, so doesn't actually lose the stalker, right? That's not from that battle? Am I crazy? Was there debris? Whatever. I've liked Skillous's usage of the stalkers so far. Charge is going to finish, and once charge is done, you do usually feel quite confident in your defenses, as long as you have a shield battery, which Skillous does, and we do have a proxy gateway. So a bunch of gateways finishing up. It's going to be a total of actually 8, not 10. So I don't think he's going to be as dedicated to his attack as he was versus Clem. Main base is actually kind of undefended. That's not a lot of Zealot warp-ins. Stalkers respawn. Skillous is very keen on the secondary attack, so he has some units over here, but not enough that shield battery still gets taken down, and that is a bit worrisome. He's not quite killing these Marauders either. Hot pickup. Hot damn. And I think we actually need more Stalkers warped in. The Zealots can get kited for a rather long time, but looks like this will be enough. Marauders starting to get overstimmed. And I think HeRoMaRinE did realize that more warp-ins would be inevitable. But like I said, it's not as many gateways as that's 3 base all-in versus Clem. So I did expect something else to be coming down. It is a Robo Bay. If this was 10 gateways, Skillous might just win the game right off the bat. He might just win right here, right now. 8 gateways, I'm not so sure. Even though he still has the proxy gateway, it is still a bit scary for HeRoMaRinE. I think the lack of 2 additional warp-ins is enough. Plus, this probably isn't hitting as fast, so there's that too. If there was, you know, a minute ago, 6 warp-ins trying to get us around on HeRoMaRinE, then HeRoMaRinE's in trouble. And that is not this game. 4th Nexus, +2 attack. Colossus is going to start up soon too. Skillous is, again, picking off some units, but his army should actually get away. His non-Stalker army should get away. Stalkers can chill, but everything else run. So Observer does get taken down. That takes away some of the power of the Stalkers being bullies. It also completely throws Skillous into the dark, so he has no idea if Medivac's picked up and is heading up to the top side. So that's always scary too. But these Stalkers have been pretty value. I mean, this is really what you want from Stalker players. Always in the right position, pretty much always in the right position. Picking off individual units like Marauders and Woodamines, big picks, and then surviving, which is most important, surviving. You can get to a decent number of Stalkers and feel really powerful. And if you retain all of them, then you can move on to the more dependable units. Well, not dependable is not really the right word. The stronger units, the Colossus, the Archons. If you lose the Stalkers because you're trying to do what Skillous does and you fail miserably, then you could still have your Zealots and Colossus and you say, okay, I guess I am still okay. You've lost all of your map presence, any form of harassment. Of course, you can't take down the Vikings if they build those. TLDR, Stalkers are great. Stalkers are actually one of my favorite units because I think the skill cap with them is so high. Not just the blinking of them, not just the micro of them, but the actual usage of them entirely. And Colossus, well, Colossus are still Colossus. They're very A-movie. But Skillous is going to try and utilize that Colossus range to find HeRoMaRinE pinned back at home. We do have a nasty choke that Protoss can take advantage of for a little while, but only 2 Colossus without extended thermal lance. And be very careful on both sides of this equation. 3 Colossus is usually the golden number. We're not there yet, and that +2 also wasn't quite done. Whereas HeRoMaRinE has a lot of Marauders. 17 Marauders. Even if they do filter through a choke, that's not going to get killed very quickly. Also 3 EMPs available soon. Vikings come forward and are actually going to get shot down out of the sky. This actually is quite a good battle for Skillous. He kind of got his ducks in a row. Zealots in the front, Stalkers kill the Vikings. Colossus lived to, I guess, burn down more Marines. And the Archons even came in at kind of an okay timing. Which is late enough not to impact the fights, but also not going to kill themselves taking a fight they wouldn't have won either, so. Good enough, Archons, good enough. And now I move on to those Disruptors. So, obviously, we move on to Disruptors eventually, but if you can have those 3 very dependable Colossus still kind of in your back pocket, you feel really powerful. You're no longer in that kind of, well, do I mess up here? Do I get surrounded? As the Colossus do help with that. Also vulnerable to being surrounded, of course. The entire Protoss is vulnerable to being outpositioned, but now the 3 Colossus still alive means that more Vikings had to be produced, and they're still going to try and actually shoot down a Colossus before an engagement even starts. That's kind of low-key the real goal of Vikings. Kill the Colossus before they start beaming down all your units. Speaking of which, not quite killing the Colossus, but there you go. The frontline buffer had disappeared. The Archons could only last so long, especially up against EMPs. The Colossus falls, Stalkers do blink out, and Zealots now are causing carnage in the main base. That's actually really good for Skillous, because otherwise he had just lost that fight pretty bad. HeRoMaRinE not exactly sure what to do, is walking across the map. That's already taken longer than I think HeRoMaRinE wants. And they pulled back even momentarily, so Skillous has had time to replace his army. The Disruptor barely not getting that shot, and the shield battery overcharge is not going to last. Zealots disappear in front of our eyes, and the Stalkers are not plentiful enough to take on this type of army. Disruptor number 2, can he get the shot? Skillous is going to lose his 3rd base economy, and that Disruptor is going to get the tail end. A Marauder and a couple of Marines, but this is going to be damage on both sides of the equation. Question is, who's going to come out of this ahead? Another Disruptor shot's not going to hit anything that particular time. And now, can Skillous reinforce enough to hold on to this Nexus? If he can hold on to the Nexus, I'm going to give him a slightly better position, but actually, no. I take that back. Nope. He needs to hold on to the Nexus and take a good fight, which seems improbable. Disruptor, again, not getting the shot. Zealots do get a decent wraparound, though. But here come the Liberators, and that just might cut it. That's probably going to be it. Yeah, Skillous did not build up a good enough army. The fight on the right side was just too bad. It's too bad. He almost got enough time, though. He almost got enough time. If he had Warpins and a Disruptor on the front of his shield battery, I think this is a very different game. But because the shield battery was killed, first and foremost, Skillous could not hold and just threw units continuously into the meat grinder. GG. HeRoMaRinE does take the 3-0. Skillous's tear through the open bracket stops very abruptly, but it does seem like he has a block against HeRoMaRinE specifically. he's having some fun versus the other Terran players. Euthermal, Clem, Special. I don't know who else. Well, Spirit. I think Skillous has a lot of fun against, but something about HeRoMaRinE that stumps these Protoss players, especially when it comes to the Open Cup. Anyways, good attempt. HeRoMaRinE does take another European Open Cup